What type of insurance policies are a must-have? In order of importance, geared towards individuals. If you want an answer for businesses, just clarify that in another A2A. Preferably include what type of industry you're asking about. 2. IMHO. 1. Auto liability. The biggest potential to be liable for large dollar amounts in damages and possible to be liable without really doing anything negligent. This is a huge, common misconception. I'm a safe driver, I don't need much insurance. I have a client that tapped someone's bumper. Accident analysis confirms at less than 5 miles per hour at impact. Scratched bumper repair cost $30. The other driver is suing for emotional damages to her child, whom she claims has PTSD from the accident, and refuses to get back into a car. This is America. 2. Liability for any dwellings, buildings, properties. Even trespassers can sue you for big dollar, and a trip and fall is exceedingly hard to defend. Many are settled for 5 figures, and that's considered a win. The liability can be procured on its own if you don't want property coverage for the structure, monoline liability, or as part of a homeowner's business owner's dwelling fire commercial package policy. 3. Health insurance. Even if it's high deductible, you need it to prevent catastrophic loss leading to possible liens on any properties. 4. Life insurance. Sure, you'll be gone if you need it, but the earlier you buy, the less expensive it is. Your loved ones need it now. We start getting into optional policies that are most necessary for folks making over $75,000 USD and or sole primary breadwinners who have young children. 5. Short-term, long-term disability. Self-explanatory. Fills in gaps in systems like workers' comp, social security, etc. And there are gaps. 6. Long-term care. Very expensive policies. Will cover in-home care, sometimes indefinitely, more commonly for a period of time, and then the cost of assisted living facilities when you can no longer live alone, care for yourself. As always, this doesn't constitute insurance or legal advice. I'm only a P&C agent and only in CT, not licensed to sell, advise on life health lines. Purely academic discussion. You all know the drill. Cheers. In my professional opinion, health insurance, auto if you own a car, renters or homeowners insurance, umbrella and disability insurance if you are earning a salary. Health insurance. I've seen too many people avoid doctors because they don't have insurance. As a result, conditions that may not have been too serious if found early had a significant impact by the time they got to a doctor. Even just waiting to go to an emergency room with insurance can bankrupt some. Auto, depending on the age of your car, and if you have a loan, you may not need more than your state's minimums. I'm a fan of uninsured underinsured because it covers your car in parking lots as well as hit and runs. Mistakes I see here are people not getting enough coverage. Homeowners and renters. In general, I think many people have homeowners insurance because they have a mortgage. But all too often they don't review what it covers, so their home's values will increase but the coverage doesn't. Renters insurance is inexpensive, yet I see far too many people renting and not protecting themselves. Umbrella insurance is meant to protect you when the coverage of your home or auto isn't enough. Think lawsuits. This is another inexpensive insurance that can make a huge difference if you ever need it. Your dog bites someone, you cause a car accident, etc. Disability. Our incomes are often the biggest asset we have, yet we don't think about it in those terms. Workers' comp is available if you get hurt on the job, and you can prove it. Some employers will provide coverage, but if you are self-employed, you really need to protect yourself. If you own a motor vehicle in the civilized world registered to you and you either drive it or allow someone else to drive it, you should have at least basic property damage and bodily injury liability coverage in an amount to indemnify you for any litigation filed against you or your estate. Since automobile policies traditionally don't carry high liability limits, if you have a large net worth to protect, you may wish to purchase a personal umbrella policy (PUP) to cover the excess not covered by the underlying automobile and/or home or renter's policy. If you purchase a home with a conventional mortgage and put less than 20% cash down, your mortgage company will have private mortgage insurance (PMI) placed in your mortgage in case your account should become substantially in arrears. Speaking of which, a homeowner's all-risk dwelling insurance is a required policy if you are purchasing a home and there is a mortgage company or bank lien which has an insurable interest on the dwelling. Health insurance is now required by law and is just a good idea to have because, if you are one of the millions of uninsured people in our country, contrary to popular belief, you do not receive top-of-the-line coverage, and what you do receive is underwritten by the taxpayers, of which you may be one. There are others depending upon whether you have dependents, such as life insurance, a family trust, which is a form of insurance for your estate, and long-term care policies, if you don't want to chance leaving your elder care in the hands of a Medicare facility. What type and how much insurance you need depends entirely on what you're up to in life and what is at risk that must be protected. If you're a physician in private practice, you can't afford, and it may even be illegal for you, not to have malpractice insurance. If you're a trust fund baby and have no spouse or dependents, then you can probably do fine without life insurance, since you have many investments that are quite solid and nobody who will be hurt financially if you get hit by the proverbial beer truck. It's all about risk and what should be protected. Insurance is hedging your bets. That said, everybody, except the super rich, should have some sort of health insurance. And if you're super rich, you can certainly afford a top-notch policy, so why not? Also, almost everybody who has a mortgage is required to have fire insurance, otherwise you don't get a loan. Same with flood insurance where that's a risk. Car insurance? Almost every state requires that for a driver's license, unless, of course, you don't own a car. Life insurance? Maybe. As part of a diversified retirement portfolio. So, I could make a list of different policies that are available, but whether they're must-haves depends on your life, your assets, and a lot of variables. For example, my wife, who's 82 and in good health, is likely to make it to the century mark. It makes sense for her to have long-term care insurance that will cover her extended lifespan. I'm 74 and for a lot of reasons I'm very unlikely to get anywhere close to that point. I didn't think I'd make it this far, so I didn't take out that policy. That's a bit of a risky bet, but I feel I'm justified, and so do both my wife and my investment counselor.